Okay, we're live, we're not muted, just so everybody knows.
So stop talking. Mhm.
Ready, Fred?
So the Shane Street tip project, that's set to begin the week of July 11th. It'll be a couple-month project, but the contractor is pretty excited about it. And, I think they'll do a pretty good job. Pretty straightforward project, so no infill project, low drainage work. So that should go pretty quickly. Rose Road, Orange Road 33, that's what we're calling it now, is done. Mike Solomon is hydro seeded up there, DEC, Buffalo Niagara Water Keepers, Fish and Wildlife, they're all happy.
It's sort of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm saying they tracked a bunch of fish, they didn't do it one side or the other.
They moved them downstream, they're only like that big. So. Owanger Road, this will be a tip project coming up, construction next year. But this project wouldn't allow for road widening, so in order to get the bike lane in there, we're gonna go in, and widen the road to make sure we have 5-foot shoulders. That work will begin about the week of July 11th as well. The project was there with consulting firm, a couple weeks ago. We went through and figured out what needed to be done and there was some extra work that we thought was necessary. So.
I don't need any size of it. So, the what's late, I was thinking
All the way to 46. But then that's because there's some drainage issues on that road, so it'll address a lot of that.
what happened, back up the driveway and the roads, then,
So we're not gonna touch the driveways, but when they do the work, when the contractor does the work, they'll replace the driveways when they're done tearing them up. Couple other things, we paved Weathersfield Road from 19 to Hermitage, went out very well, we're very happy with it. That'll be striped. The rest of the roads that need to be striped, will be done in a month or two. So that's coming up. And then we also do Woodchip, Howland Road and Buffalo Road. And we've done all the shoulder back up for those projects. And that's all I got for now, the big things.
Any questions we got on the work update? Position of labor, seasonal. You're gonna get somebody started and they didn't stay,
It didn't work out.
were you able to find somebody or?
We have someone now, yeah, they've already started. And they don't come to work.
Where'd you find that guy?
How easy.
Yeah, it's good. Two.
It's already there.
Supervisor King. Further discussion? Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Choose the disposition of the fixed assets.
Something that's not used, you don't utilize it very much. So as part of this, exercise, we're gonna just eliminate the vehicle that we don't need. don't need to replace it, don't use it, so.
So those contracts came in, and I talked to them, like, email and sent them to County Attorney for final review. And I think I emailed all that to you guys, but I don't think I got it. So we'll be signing some documents sometime today.
This will be set at auction and
I think Enterprise will sell.
over there, so. Okay, motion. Motion by Supervisor Davis. Number 3, for discussion, all in favor?
Based on that Enterprise stuff, when Enterprise sells the vehicles, they guarantee they're gonna bring more than option prices. They've already got different businesses or companies lined up to receive those. So we're getting better than auction pricing. That kickback is more than the auctions they're bringing, because they already have so many companies looking for the truck. So Enterprise do it.
But when you sell a vehicle or turn it into enterprise, does the equity come back to your respective departments, or does it just come to a general account for this lease?
They're rolling it right into the lease program to keep those,
I believe the leases are by vehicle, so depending on where the vehicle is. If he's doing it, we're just gonna credit that department if he's.
It's like a trade-in, it's like cash.
I understand the concept. I'm just wondering the separation of the equity funds. They come back to the respective department. Correct. Right? Okay.
Why wouldn't move on to number 4, special service contract and green service. A capital project. Captain G Bridge.
300.
This is gonna be 3 wide, is that what you're saying?
3 wide,
It is kind of
expensive, but
we can't move them ourselves, so.
no, in this crane, so this crane company, they do, so Allegheny County does a lot of work with their Captain Z bridge deck panels, and this is the company that they use, so I feel pretty comfortable going with these guys, they know what they're doing. So I wanted to piggyback off of their bid and get them in here and get it done this year.
Didn't Allegheny County report something about buying or panels one time?
It wasn't Allegheny County, but I think it was the park system, Allegheny State Park, I think, I sent the drawings, I reached out to them and never heard back, so apparently they don't want
Maybe they got the price of the grain removed.
them. Yeah,
Devin, how many panels do you have stored down there?
so after we use these 3, we'll have 12 left.
12. Okay.
You know, when they're gonna do that.
We got some other projects we gotta do, so we're gonna get this done this year, and then we're gonna push another project that we want to do this year into next year. So it'll be probably in a month or so, we'll start doing this work.
They got those so long, so things.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to, there's actually existing abutments still there, we have to jackhammer those out and force some new ones. They'll be there probably 2 months, 2.5 months.
So what's the life of these panels in terms of once you put them in?
Hopefully 75-100 years.
Really? Are you recondition them before you put them in?
What's that?
Do you recondition them or paint them or do
So
anything with
part
them?
of the normal preventive maintenance, we'll get in there and paint them in a year or 2 probably, but
Okay.
they're good to go now. And they were inspected when the engineer did the design work for the bridge.
Got it.
This bridge isn't gonna be really high volume, I don't. Most people, it's gonna be more the farmers and people cutting, taking shortcuts.
I think it'll keep people off of School Road, right? I think it's the main purpose of this bridge. Put down that next there.
people were there. They didn't want to open back up. They like living on the dead end. When it's a town employee, that's why.
All right, we'll need motion to move forward. Motion by Supervisor Taylor. Further discussion? Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. In front of the professional service contract, with James for maintenance, repair, training, and related assistance for the county radio system. Is this move the radios, when we get the vehicles?
That's part of it, but also training for some of our guys. I don't know if everyone's aware, but Eric Victor, I think, is retiring in January. So it'll be kind of training some of the other guys, and bringing them up to speed on how the radio system works. So that's part of this.
Motion by Supervisor Lord. Further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 6 is an municipal agreement. What is the, highway department?
This is for that data stone that we purchased through that for the Growth Road project, but I think we need Chairwoman Ryan's signature on that, is why we're bringing it back. So,
Already, someone's already.
yeah, it was already, I think it's already through.
Where's this? It's going from Weathersfield. Motion?
Yeah.
Motion by Supervisor Davis. For discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All on the agenda.
That's it this time, sorry.
Well, I don't know if this is so much for Don, but just animal pricing, like I mentioned, when we had the vote at the Board of Supervisors meeting, I had, and I still have mixed feelings on it. I voted for it to support the department heads. But if there's a way we can just keep a very good eye on the numbers, because it's, you guys are doing this first, and before we go countywide, I just would like to see how it all shakes out.
And to add to what the chairwoman is saying, we've had other departments ask about it, but we've been kind of pulling the reins back on and telling them just hold on, let these guys prove a point, and then
And I just want to really see that myself. Because once our cars are all with them, we can't go back, really, because we don't have any inventory to do it. It's hard, I just don't know over again, so I think we just need to keep a close eye on it.
Becky,
And it's-
question for you. So what measurements do we have identified or in place to ensure that program is being administered properly and is successful?
Right, okay, yes, Janice, do you know?
I think that's.
Devin, I need to comment on
Yeah.
like, but,
The equity.
I did the numbers before, I did the numbers recently, I sent it down, it doesn't. The numbers don't match to what I come up with, so. In theory, it all sounds great, but the numbers don't support it. But we knew that, I told you that before, I said it's gonna cost us money, it's not gonna save us money.
So what's
So I
the,
will continue to track the numbers like we do, I can pull numbers as far back as they go.
what's the differential?
It's hard to say, because I'm gonna say, he told us that's worst case scenario, the numbers they gave us.
How much?
So all of the numbers he provided are worst case scenario if vehicles have to be purchased off of a lot and not through factory direct through these companies.
Also without government incentives.
Exactly. So the numbers he provided for budgetary reasons were without our government incentive. So normally I buy a 3/4 ton truck in the past few years for $35,000. Right now, he has it as a $50,000 vehicle. That's a huge difference.
50.
50, that's off the lot though. That is not through the factory. He is going to use our incentives as long as the factory is accepting those orders. So the problem is vehicle unavailability right now and how many orders the factory is actually accepting.
So I'll repeat my question. How do we know that the program is successful? And what's our time frame for determining that?
Because it's a proven concept, almost every county around us is doing it. Genesee County certainly, really likes the program, they've seen the savings.
I would say we would know with the first half dozen vehicles, how the process and what the pricing is coming in at. And we're not locked in with that. We would still hold equity with the vehicle and we're still.
We don't hold equity with the leased vehicles. They hold equity with our own.
No, the equity, it says right in the program, comes back to the county.
With the lease?
That's what it is.
We own the equity in a leased vehicle. It
Yeah.
doesn't show it on here.
No,
It
that's.
just shows the.
That's the whole point of this, we still retain the equity.
We still retain fully equity.
When they take.
It doesn't show it on the chart.
Janice, also, I know what to find out, so the numbers that you ran were only 5 years worth of data. The numbers that we gave are for the right types of vehicles, we have a lot of vehicles that are 12 years old.
I know, so the way I read the numbers, not that we have to get into this, because I already said it's gonna cost us more, we're not.
What's the
gonna
cost
say-
of vehicle?
Because numbers, you got vehicles that are already,
Well,
you think the
I
maintenance
look
on those vehicles should be even higher at this stage in the game. If you go back 5 years. Maintenance,
13,000.
gas, which isn't included in these amounts. I mean, this is
Getting into one?
a total amount,
I can sell
you
mine.
know, we're still gonna
3
pay
years old,
maintenance and gas,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I.
Well, the maintenance of the vehicle.
So it's, I guess when we, I mean, I looked at the numbers, I can sit here and talk about it, and Jerry doesn't agree with me, but numbers are facts, and they are what they are. I can take the same numbers and keep track of them for 3 years and see where we are. I'm gonna say it's gonna cost more, you know why? Because we keep our vehicles for 10 years. And the cost of purchasing the vehicles and always having the vehicles certainly is more expensive than maintaining older vehicles and the gas that they use. It just is a fact.
So
It's all the numbers
still,
we have.
I'm confused
It's hard.
because when we saw the pitch for this program out at County Highway and then he came in and subsequently, other counties are reporting savings.
So I don't know how the other counties maintain their vehicles. Do they take them to, the other counties might take their vehicles to a shop.
No, Genesee County does their own.
Do they do their own? So I don't know.
Did you reach out to your contact at Genesee County?
I can,
You said you were going to before.
I can. I'm just looking at numbers and, you know, numbers are hard numbers, they're not percentages, they're not estimates. My
Well, we
opinion.
can solve it now, but I think,
This is
you
all I'm
know,
saying is I think we need to track it and just,
Yeah,
Just
I
make
just want to
sure.
track it because it is, you know, we're in the program and just to make sure.
sure, but your vote to approve this was contingent upon
I said.
these two departments being successful in their conversion to this lease program.
Right, and I
And
have,
before we move forward countywide, I think, you know, we owe it to ourselves to have a good, solid understanding of what the financial benefits to the county are, if in fact they even exist.
and we have to take into account too, that it is saving time for our department.
I 100% said that thing. We're not gonna save money, but it's definitely a benefit to departments because they can call up, they get a vehicle, you know, they get things, it's,
But that's kind of intrinsic, you know, you can't
well, it
really
is
put
what
a,
you're doing it.
well, you can't put a dollar amount. on it.
Right.
You can keep that in mind though, I mean, it's,
And I just wanna say, let's just take it slow and not, I know Andrew was talking about a car the other day and
Sure.
talking about, let's just start with it.
What are we thinking, a year or 6 months, a year, 2 years?
Probably should give it a couple years.
I would say at least 2 years,
2 years.
if not 3, I mean, because we're not even gonna be fully into the program until 2026.
We should definitely get this project rolling a little bit, and then I think we'll have a good baseline after a couple of years where we're at.
And that's just my concern.
And I 100% say that if we compare one to the other and add an inflation factor, we are what we are, you know, it is what it is.
So other than committee cycle here where you're turning in a vehicle, how frequently will we have an understanding of where we're at?
We're not gonna know where we're at.
It'll be a while,
It's gonna be a while, then.
It's just that cycle.
maybe 3 years.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
And honestly, people probably, it's a program that's easy, it's nice, you don't have to worry about stuff, you have the, and I said this all before, you have the ability to have wide range to get the vehicles. If they're not getting the vehicles under our incentive, we're paying more for vehicles.
Well, we can pull out of that point.
So here's the thing, so when you talk to the counties, so we're gonna have 23, 17 instead, 23 vehicles. And we're doing the math yesterday, so we get all in and they're not getting the incentives and we know we can buy it cheaper, whatever. You know, you're talking $1 million to a bunch of vehicles so we can get out of the program. I don't think they're gonna really appreciate us ditching out 1, 2, 3 and say, yeah, we're gonna do this slowly. And so we're gonna have to buy all, I mean, I don't know, maybe they would.
We also
We
won't,
don't really talk about an exit plan, they say you can delay.
but we also won't know until we start turning vehicles in and that equity comes back. Right now, when we get rid of a vehicle, the equity is so minimal
Right.
correct.
I think
because we utilize the life of that vehicle to the point where it can't be utilized any longer. So that's part of the equation that we don't see.
I'll give you one example. My truck's a 2019, and it's worth more today than what I paid for it.
Yeah, but that's because of what's happened in the last couple of years. Okay,
Well, what has happened in the last couple of years,
yeah, but
Brian?
if you would have bought that vehicle, you bought that vehicle,
I bought it.
right? But if you would have leased that vehicle, you wouldn't have that money
I won
because the lease company,
because I could buy it. At the end of the lease.
yeah, they're gonna charge you the full price for it.
No, they won't, because you
it's
get that.
built right into the contract.
Okay, well, this is a one-time deal though. This ain't gonna happen for the next 10 years. You're not gonna be able to buy a vehicle 5 years from now and have it be worth more 2 years down the road.
How do you know?
Uh,
You got a crystal ball, Brian? I see.
How many
this.
times has it happened in history?
Man, we gotta get into the stock market.
So what's gonna happen here?
Jeez.
What's gonna happen here is leasing vehicles is all about getting a new vehicle, you're not doing the maintenance, you're saving time and money because you're not running and getting things fixed, and the convenience of having a new vehicle. It's a convenience thing.
And
It's like
safety.
It's like buying,
It's a safety thing.
it's like, well, safety.
And the safety too.
But it's
Let's
like buying.
keep it to one conversation here. if we can.
It's like buying prepackaged food. You're guaranteed to get what you want and have it, or you buy a bunch of beef and put in the freezer and cook it up later. It's cheaper to buy the beef, put in your freezer, but the convenience factor is more expensive.
So,
It's a convenience factor.
so you're okay with that?
I'm not okay with it. I voted no.
That's what I thought.
I think it's gonna cost us a lot more money, but there's a number of things, the safety factor. How do you put a number on the safety factor? One person losing his brakes in the truck going down a hill and getting in an accident and just getting hurt, I don't want to kill. You know, it's huge, but you're betting on what ifs. I mean, it's the same as the security in the building. We can put a full set of security out here to ward off any crazy people coming in and hurting employees. Is it worth it? Yes, if something happened. If it doesn't happen, you spend all that money for nothing. I
Well,
mean,
my assumption,
So regardless, we're signing the contract, and we've talked about this, and there's, we're gonna keep keep the numbers, we're gonna see how it is what it is, and, I just want to make sure we don't roll it out to Will County before we kind of test the waters.
Well, we got 23 vehicles that we're gonna turn into this lease program? Is that what I'm
Eventually,
hearing?
we're gonna do it
But it's gonna take us how long to do that?
4 years.
4 years.
Because we just bought some vehicles,
Sure.
Right.
I mean,
We can turn them all in right now, but what sense would that make,
Right.
turning vehicles we receive?
we just
I
bought.
understand, sure. So the other thing is, it doesn't Enterprise also keep track of the financials?
All of it. So there's a spreadsheet that is be available to everybody that shows and that shows the timeframe of which they predict we should.
We need to move forward.
Vehicles have been set up on a 2-year
Done deal.
lease, but half-ton trucks are pulling great money.
I trust
for
him.
years. Then they're gonna try those.
So Dennis, is it unreasonable for us to ask that we have at least
It all depends.
an annual look at this, and to see where we're at?
That's fine, I think comparing certain things, I think you have to compare reasonable things, and that's not, it's fine.
I mean, we're not gonna hang out here for 4 years waiting to find out whether the program is successful or not.
But you might need to.
You're gonna have to.
You're gonna have to, how long do you do it? I mean, that's just getting everything into the 23 vehicles into the program. So, yeah, we can look at it. I think when you can't really compare the life of a vehicle to 1 year of their estimates here.
But you're gonna have to budget for this every year.
I'm hoping they give us some sort of number for 2022 or 2023, and we budgeted. I set up a line, we're gonna budget it.
Okay,
This is gonna be the most beneficial way to enter into, to trade in 10 vehicles at once, because if Devin were to ask to upgrade those 10-year-old vehicles, we're at $500,000 or $600,000 anyway in 1 year.
Yeah.
At this point, it's gonna lower that amount. It's just gonna go
Mike,
back.
I voted yes for this, and I'm clear on the concept of how it works. However, we have to be mindful of the financial implications to the county because the taxpayers are paying for it.
Devin and I don't want it to cost any more money than what it's costing us now. It's the fleet management is what the piece of.
But when we
land.
started this conversation, I heard initially that it was gonna cost us more.
I don't
I've
feel
never
those
heard
are
anyone
right.
say I've never heard anyone say this program costs people money. I've not heard that out of everybody that I've talked to that uses this program. I understand Janice ran the numbers, but I don't necessarily.
Well, and again, we do things differently, maybe, we live along with vehicles, I've talked about that before. We don't know, Justin doesn't know when to trade in a truck. So maybe in other counties, they have a replacement plan that they said, okay, we're gonna replace it every 5 years, and the board committed to that. So we didn't ever do that, we don't have, we've tried a little bit when the, I'm gonna tell you, I've done this a while, when it's tax rates up 10%. We say, can you live long another year without a $50,000 vehicle? Yeah, I think we can. That's how that happens. So in this scenario, we're not gonna really be doing that. We're gonna follow the system, follow the program, because it's in savings. If we start saying we're gonna live along and we're not gonna trade that one in this year, well, then we're kind of stopping the process. So we never really had that process to start with, is what I'm saying. We never said the complete budget is X amount of money. It's always been a moving target. That's the difference.
Well, it seems to me that it would be reasonable to have the three of you and Enterprise at some point reconcile
Oh, we will.
those numbers.
I think quarterly. I don't think you're gonna see somebody by the end of the year.
That's the least.
It's just gonna.
At least it's part of
definitely
part of the
be- I think
budget
We're gonna
cycle.
meet every year. We're gonna meet every year.
And New Tech Enterprise, it's part of the program.
It is.
You meet with their person annually
Sure.
to go over next year's plan, how the vehicles have worked out the previous year. You look at the numbers, I think that is part of the program.
It is part.
So
And what determines when you decide to convert a vehicle from own to lease?
so right now it's based on age and mileage, but then they use data. They use their data that they compile.
And you both have a schedule based on your history of what's gonna, how much it's gonna cost every year
Yeah.
to shift those over? Like, I don't know if you're gonna do 10 next year or 5 next year.
Right. That's, see, in my department, I only have 6 vehicles, which 4 are newer, so I can get by 2 a year, you know, and that's.
Public safety, you said.
Okay, but he can't.
He's got 17, where.
Stop before public safety starts.
3 years. I know, say,
You talk the same bullshit.
it's whatever the
That's
market is bringing.
saying we're done.
At that time,
You're absolutely right.
Adjusting turnover rate.
And
If they want to get top dollar for that vehicle that you're trading in or that you're turning in.
We voted on it, we decided.
Then the equity is put back in the program.
And you might come to us again, you know, after a couple of years, if you have a vehicle that, I'm supposed to, send back to your vehicle, and I'm supposed to trade in. If we haven't put in mileage, I'm gonna say, no, it doesn't make sense, you didn't put any miles on this truck, we're gonna keep it, and they're fine with it, and also things that suggest that as well.
Everybody else.
So,
Mileage or hours on these vehicles, is it a factor?
Nothing, no miles, no hours. you trade
Mr.
in.
Chairman, we talked this for a long time.
Yeah, well, this is, in the end,
Public safety is this afternoon. Will we get done talking before public safety starts?
And I was just asking to, just gonna keep an eye on it for the.
Well, I'm back to my original point. We don't have any measures of success. We don't.
You're really.
We're gonna keep an eye on it for the next 4 years. We don't have any measures whether or not the program is successful, right?
It'll be a few years before it goes 100%. But these gentlemen also know they
I'll
don't.
be out of office by then.
Well, I think all we have is really what the other municipalities are saying as far as their participation and their success rate for now, but as far as we go, we don't, because we have no metrics.
Sure.
to-
But they've
Yeah.
been able to put numbers to it, dollars saved to the program.
Dan,
They've been able to do that. We ought to be able to do that.
Dan, we got numbers through Dan for it.
This is where I
And I'm just saying, I'm not trying to say these are as bad as the Danforth project, but these companies are using best case scenario.
Sure.
These new vehicles are coming out saying they're getting 20 miles a gallon, they're only getting 17.
All right,
That number's been figured in there too.
point
It
noted.
was a sales pitch.
Sure.
We bought it, we've got to watch it. We've went for it, now we should watch it. That's all it's got to be done.
so we'll discuss this one.
Absolutely, new vehicles give up mileage.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
To rent it, why don't you try it?
I could. I get the same discount, doesn't matter.
Ready, private vehicles, big difference in what we're talking. Big difference.
Just taking on Mike's agenda, first service contract, RDP.
We had Harding do some more for us. We had some issues at the Ag Center this past month with one of the split units in the service rooms. The USDA, we had to make an emergency repair. The split unit that was installed 8 or 9 years ago, that came with the property. It was a residential unit. The thing runs 24 hours a day. After 9 years, it saw its life expectancy. It wouldn't run anymore, so we upgraded to a better commercial unit. It was $5,875, and then since then, we've had some little pickups along the way with some other equipment that we've had to order some parts for Hardings as well.
Is this replacing somebody else?
It's not,
Sorry.
it's just an addition. Yeah, so Hardings, so we used Hardings came in at the $5,875 for that split unit. MJ Mechanical, we normally do work such as that, they came in over $10,000.
There's another option.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Motion. Motion by Supervisor Roach. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And this is just our eye scratch control. fire control.
Yeah, Johnson Controls takes care of all of our fire, smoke detectors, stuff like that, fire panels. We had some smoke heads and sensors in the courthouse that needed to be repaired, and they did the work, $1,000.
Does this include, This
This is not, but not with that, it is later in the agenda, if Johnson Controls did receive the bid for the Ag Center.
three, that's the resolution, mechanical. Visions, and some.
Correct, so we have a preventative maintenance program, MJ Mechanical comes in, they do a once over on our equipment once a year, annual once over. They inspect all of the main components of the equipment, test the equipment to its highest and lowest standards, and then report on whether they need belts, pulleys, any preventative stuff. And it's just over $900 to do that for the Ag Center. There's 10 rooftop units and now multiple split units that they will be doing preventative maintenance, the annual preventative maintenance.
Is there any advantage on the parties?
Harding even $800 more. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's funny how they cross like that. The preventative maintenance stuff is cheaper, repair wise, Harding's is cheaper.
Motion by Supervisor Kozlowski. Discussion. All in favor? Nomad Enterprise, the revision, Ag Center for mowing.
Yeah, so this would be the Ag Center new lot that we are going to purchase. And, we can do $125 a week, maintain the just over acre and a half back there of lawn. They did provide us a quote for a one-time, in few words, the place was a hayfield. I think most of you have seen it. We had them also come in with the tractor and brush hog the property because it was so tall. $350 for that, and then it's going to be $125 starting first week of July, and that'll be weekly mowing of the back section of the property. The front lawn and around the building will still be maintained in-house.
Yesterday, one of the workers over there, there was some weed trimming, and he ran into a nest of ground hornets.
Okay, it was a ground hive, we had, and they were big. He was doing some weed eating around the building, trying to clean it up. Yeah, they come at him, there was about 20 or 30, he said, swarming him. And it seemed to, I drove back there after we had to call the rescue squad just to make sure, because he did get stung. He was very startled, he was high heart rate, short breath. So we had him checked out, he signed himself off. He was, after he calmed down for about a half hour, everything was okay. But it seems that during a span of about 12 feet is what this ground hive is up alongside the building. The highway department was there this morning. They had a skid steer on site anyway to grade off some of the stone lot behind the Ag Center. So since it was a fully enclosed gap, I had them back drag that area to open up that nesting area, and then we can have that treated.
That's what I was gonna ask, if somebody had sprayed or.
Yeah, there's too much activity to get the rosebud out yesterday and kill them off, but we'll call in our pest services and have it sprayed. So
That's around the barn.
it was around the main section of our.
Okay, we have a motion for mowing. Mark Kozlowski. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 5, resolution contract for Johnson Controls to reflect the revisions to the fire alarms printed in the Ag Center.
Yeah, The Johnson Controls came in a few $100s cheaper than the current provider, which is Great Lakes. Johnson Controls takes care of our other facilities, so we just want to bring them on board to take care of this, the Ag Center building. Great Lakes still monitors because is it right? Proprietary equipment that they have within the building, so only they can monitor that equipment or dispatch with that equipment. But we can still have it serviced by other companies, so we're gonna see a few $100 savings at the end of the day. With Johnson Controls.
Is this gonna take place after we own the building, or we don't own it yet, do we, Becky?
The building, this is for the Ag Center itself. This is for the building.
No, and it may be September
For the Ag Center.
For the,
We don't need to-
Right, this is the February purchase or whatever that.
Oh, this is the Ag Center.
Yeah.
Yes, this is for the rear building. There's
The mowing part would be. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still getting a building for parking.
Motion by Supervisor Norwood, further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 6 is permission for RFP for aluminum door replacements.
So we talked about Thompson Hall, that lower door, the doors at the Ag Center, which we already have permission to replace. And then there's 2 doors at the jail. So I have 5 sets of aluminum doors right now. All have different grades, all are used differently. I'm not a door expert or an aluminum door expert. I'd like to set out an RFP to get the best value for the dollar, or, best product for the dollar. So I believe an RFP for this type of project would be great. And we already know it's gonna be between $30,000 and $40,000 is rough estimates to do these 5 doors. But we just want to make sure, because of all the lock mechanisms, the way the openings are set up, things that are differently for each building, there's just too much to spec out. We would like to have it spec and they provide us the cost and we can choose from it.
This would include installation of the doors.
Yes, correct. Yep, the only building that needs alterations would be Thompson Hall that we can do in-house. And then this would also provide all installation.
Now, when we did Becky and I looked over, we were talking about the doors, the windows that you see.
Yeah.
Does this have options for these doors at all?
All of them, yeah, any entry door, we put glass in. Yeah. These are all just entry doors. Exterior to entry doors.
Okay, I'm sure that they need replacing or like when asked for it.
Correct.
That is a motion. Motion by Supervisor King. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Some of the discussion on Ag Center generator came in 50,000 more than quoted.
Correct, so our original thoughts were going to be just over $200,000 with campus, at Lee Campus's estimates. Taking back, it was like 49 and change more. It's still under the allotted amount that we kind of said we could spend over there. But there are still some things I'm working out with Cat and checking into with campus for that property. But we're just a little bit more than we anticipated on our end, but still less than budget for. But by next month, I should have a package ready to present for.
Did they give you any estimate on when it's done? I mean, would it be a year together or?
So it is, they're 52 weeks out equipment wise. I just received an email today that's that a campus generator is ordered. All the equipment is showing scheduled to show up in 48 weeks or something like that. And so it'll be next spring, we're going to do something. Yep. They did ask, because the pad on this property for that generator It needs to grow by 12 feet. They asked for that work to be done this year, which they contract out, so provided with that package. Had to end up getting that through CAT because they're the local contractor. But, so we'll do some work this fall and just prep up this one. But the same scenario over there on approvals, we would have to, we would lose one parking space, have to pour a concrete pad and put in some bollards as well.
They just gonna add the pad out there.
That's it, yeah. It's like a 12-inch pad that's out there. The unit's smaller, it's just smaller, but the length is a little bit longer. Because it sits on that day tank instead of the tanks in the ground.
Hey, purchase a refrigerator for properly extended classroom space.
So Cooperative Extension has asked for the refrigerator back. They had the refrigerator, they own the refrigerator that is in the basement. Exactly, that was theirs. So we purchased another refrigerator through Home Depot for the basement, and then so we'll move the new one into the basement and bring. So that's what the purchase was for.
So they're gonna take the old refrigerator up to their.
So it sounds like this, yeah, it's a little bit bigger than that downstairs.
Any questions for Mike on those two?
Mike, the generator, there's an existing generator there today.
At the Ag Center, there's a very small generator, like a 10,000 kW, and all it runs currently is the grinder pump for the basement sewage and the pumps in the elevator shaft.
And that's run on natural gas or diesel?
Correct, it's natural gas. The
And then-
new unit will be diesel,
Diesel,
old facility.
okay. So do we have to have some diesel storage identified for this
It's the
You
same
want-
thing, it sits right on a day tank.
on in the same pad?
Correct. Yep.
And, okay,
Does that have some kind of measure the emergency with the diesel fuel down?
They do. Yep. Yep. The electronics of these things nowadays,
They
they
start once a week and run for
exactly.
2 minutes.
Yep, 15 minutes is what the standard is for the generators to run. And they, sitting on the day tank, all the electronics and all you can see what's running via, on your phone, through the computer, you can tell what's running or what it's doing, or if it's had false readings, or power outages or brownouts, or line voltage drops. They're really, really nice.
and where is it going to be located?
Right behind that corner where LC5 is, so it's behind the building. LC5 is on the back side.
In that parking area?
And parking area, it sits right in that corner spot, and just take up that spot. It's the shortest distance with 12 feet of wire right into the electric.
And how many decibels does it generate when it's running?
Decibels, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Is it louder
it's
than,
quieter than.
it's quieter than the
Yes, it's an
existing?
enclosure and it's quieter than.
Okay,
That was my concern here, because this
sure.
dinosaur we have on this property, the new one is like half the decibels.
Well, we want to make sure that we accommodate the tenants, particularly Quality Milk and others.
Don't worry, keep that one in mind.
It'll run.
Cat provides earplugs. No, that's,
But we have approved them to purchase this generator yet.
haven't approved this one yet, approved projects, but so far only the one out here has been approved.
And I didn't know if I missed that question.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just not prepared enough to go through that. It's just like an update of where we stand, because these are ARPA funded, so they're higher or bigger dollar projects than our,
More to come.
there's more.
Right.
And there'll be room to get a diesel truck in there to fill it.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
He has a long pole, he
Yeah.
always reach down there. So,
Or is it like?
Yes,
All right.
Just don't block the exit.
right.
Okay, move on to number 8, position to fill. Administrative assistant.
Yeah, we've tossed this idea out there many times for quite some time. We tried letting the new program units get settled in. It's a lot more work than anticipated, but on top of that work, there's still more work involved in the office with our department has tripled, if not quadrupled in size in our work capacity over the past 4 years. And it's time to get an assistant in there to take care of the office duties. I've looked at it different ways, and I know we've had conversations, different opinions on it, but we need somebody in there, so.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the number, but all the utility bills that we get come to down there.
So in doing these projects now in-house as well, it creates more paperwork. And
These contracts that we just approved, they are right there.
yeah, I need somebody,
Who's doing that work now?
Kristen is doing.
So are you gonna kind of separate then out what her specific duties would be versus the new
Correct, and then they can
admin?
back up each other as well. I don't want it to be just, I want it to flow correctly. I don't ever want to be without the knowledge of the office,
Mhm.
so. That's what. Yes,
And you don't have any money this year to pay.
there is no money this year to pay for. I did not foresee needing it this soon, but it is definitely needed.
My concern right now is we've created a lot of positions and I don't think we track them as well anymore because we took everything out of HR where everything flowed through HR. So you saw all the new positions and now they're, in every separate committee. So I don't know if you're tracking, but that's just my concern. I don't say that you don't need it. Janice just wanted one. It's just that we have created a lot of positions. And with the compensation committee coming up, it's my understanding that's going to be a very, very large number when that comes to committee. And we got to really look at what we're asking our taxpayers right now because they can't buy their groceries. And you want to keep adding more, where we're going to be in budget. Is this something that you could put off and put it in the budget? Or we're just going to have to take it from funds and then.
The frustration
I
of the daily work on both Mike and Kristen's end. It's like Janice and her department, it's difficult, we're overloaded. There's no breathing space and it's. I don't want to lose an employee because she's overworked and then I'm out in the dark by January as well. I have not asked compensation committee this round. You guys treated myself and Kristen fair last year. So I have not asked for a deputy. Every other department has a deputy of sort. I'm just asking for one more office person. I have 9 employees, an additional cleaner on the way. The department has grown, the paperwork has grown, and it's time to grow the office.
This person helping with some of the paperwork that you have to do yourself.
Oh, for sure, and just keeping things filed and neat and organized and scanned and in place. It's, you come into work Monday in our department and you think, okay, here's what's gonna happen. The phone rings 3 times, you might as well just take all that paperwork and throw it because day to day it changes. So I need somebody that really works well with others and work well with Kristen and I and multitask because the job is going to vary in different directions.
I can see it giving yourself a little more time, to go around and see what projects you can better working on. You're not supposed to help them, we're doing it.
Yeah, well, I got permission to help you from the committee last year. I made sure I did that because I feel if you don't help your guys or if you're not there to oversee it, it's just bad. Bad things happen and I don't want that. We spend much money on the properties. We want them to be as maintained as possible. And I'll put on the boots and gloves, or, you know, I'll do it myself as well, if that's what it comes to.
But I do have a service there, you know, I thought you did a nice job there, and big meeting at the end of the day. I didn't get to see that area also, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that, you know, we put more buildings on you every year, we're adding something else, and now the A center, which is a large building. It creates more work, simple. It's just- Better stay in the same position, you know.
So your statement here earlier was with Munis, it's added work to you guys?
The length of time it takes to get bills paid or to process the bills, it's very lengthy compared to what ACS was and the processes ACS was for one person in the office.
So my problem with this is Munis is supposed to simplify things and take workload off of people, and this is gonna add work.
Well, I know sometimes especially the police department, you know, they have to make multiple trips to the hardware store to get things from the tops up, you know, there's an invoice for everyone, each of them has to be done individually.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we've gone round and round with Janice, we've gone around, it's, the purchasing in our department is probably more than any department. I mean, we're constantly purchasing. That's what we're here to do, to just repair. I can't keep inventory, I don't have the space to keep thousands of dollars worth of inventory. We get a work order, we repair as needed, and we move on to the next job. Backfilling with the projects we have going on. So it's not like we have piles of inventory sitting, we have piles of stuff, but it's not, we try to make the purchase in the counties, you know, make the decisions the best way to get by. But I'm constantly having to order items.
That's why you ask for a building for your shop, you know, to keep it, because back then around, it was stuff all over, you know. Did, back in I with my toured the barn over there, about some ideas, you know, over the next few years, maybe we can make that barn work for what we need.
Yeah, I met Shane Evans there with the village, and we came up with some ideas of how to utilize the back of that property, water line and getting some food back there, stuff like that. And really, if we wanted to expand further for other buildings or departments to be on there, there's a plan that started in place, or a vision at least. So we're already based on those things.
So, which pleasure on number 8.
I think under the circumstances his department's under, he needs someone down there. And I will make a motion to move this.
Thank you. That motion by Supervisor Podolsky, number 8. Any further discussion? Favor?
I,
All right,
Opposed?
Aye.
Carol? You're the only no, right?
I'm gonna go vote no, just because we'll discuss it more at finance. I'm sure it will.
I want to try to figure out why it's Munis going to be costed. I mean, if it's happening here, how many other departments are going to be?
You said the same thing, right?
Asking for more.
It's Munis.
Right, we've all been told that once Munis is loaded, once Munis is good,
It's supposed to save everybody. It shouldn't take a ton longer, let's just say that. The duties have shifted, so where they weren't physically that entering stuff into the ACS system, they were typing up a voucher. It's just a little different and they would pull it up. I mean, I can speak that, if you all remember when the prior superintendent of buildings and grounds was here, he contracted everything out.
right,
So that's a huge change. When you say we're gonna start bringing everything back in, that increases your staff, which increases payroll, which increases purchases, which increases everything else that's involved with having a bigger staff. I mean, it is what it is. You've got more people doing more things, you're doing more projects, you're expanding it out. I mean, if you contract everything out, you're putting out bids, you're writing a check, you're done. If you're bringing that all back in, doing the projects, which, whatever theory you guys do, is whatever it is, it's just, there's work that's attached to all of those choices. So, Munis, yes, we just rolled, this is kind of the first year. I think once people get used to it, it's going to be okay. It's definitely better record keeping. It's definitely a better system for checks, balances, reports. Not all reports are exactly what we want to see, but we're getting there.
But it is more work, but I can tell you that.
It is, it's more work for us. We have, instead of just flipping through paper, we have to actually click on a button to look at every single back and sitting there waiting for it to come up. It takes more time. It just does.
I've done the same thing for my department too,
Yeah,
more work. I think if you ask any department, they'll tell you.
it's definitely takes longer, but really we don't have a choice. No matter what program you're gonna go to, it's not gonna be the green screen database that it used to be. Everything's going paperless. So no matter what, I don't know if they ever said it was gonna save time.
The end result is paperless. There's still a lot of paper involved to get to that end result.
Correct. So,
So you scanning things in then, like all your?
Every,
the government scan everything in, but I think as we get used to it, like Mike and I talked, why don't we set up something, like I know at Highway, you guys have that one vendor that you get a monthly statement with like 50 tickets. And they just pay it once a month. I don't know if you can do that at the hardware, maybe, and then just parse out which, you know, I mean, there's things we just don't have time to like we don't have time.
right,
So
And I
there's
think-
ideas, there's ways to make things easier, we just don't have time to implement because we're all running with our.
well, that's it. 20 days after I make a purchase, I get a voucher, an invoice to pay, and it's like, okay, what was that valve for? What building did that go in? It's been 20 days now. It's very difficult. The way we've been doing that purchasing and fixing as needed for the past 20 plus years, at least 17 that I've been here, it just works best. The hardware's right here, the bigger ticket items, the larger purchases, the group purchases, we do bid out or we do quote out. Not everybody's financial system is perfect and lines the stars for the best result, and it just, at the end, it's more work.
The control.
Well, the auditors love it, everybody, you know, the people who are doing grants, they like it, it's all right there.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a ton of copies for this grant, that grant, whatever, I mean, we just need time to be able to make things more efficient, we just can't, we don't have time.
So we should.
I know that sounds stupid, but there's only so many hours in a day, and like Mike said, there's always something that has to be done. Oh, you walk in thinking, I've got this list, and I haven't yet crossed anything off my list.
The list just grows in.
So we should get a reduced rate on the auditor.
No, because they're still looking at, instead of you looking up, you're waiting for it to open. Whatever.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll keep that up, finance. Project discussion, Mike, the grant.
Yep, so Highway helped us out with the DB ramp, it came out great, we reused, the only thing that was reused was the handrail, and we didn't have to buy, one 22-foot length of pipe, which was $800, I couldn't believe it, so I'm glad we reused all of the handrail, we made feet for them, for that existing handrail to set in. But Highway, they knocked it out of the park, their bridge crew guys, and, the concrete straight, all of we had a lot of undermining over there. And then with the undermining, what was making the undermining, the drainage that was run through there, it's old Orangeburg pipe. And we had some other drainage issues along the back, and we took care of everything. With all the form materials, with some repairs to Some equipment that broke on site. We came in right around that $30,000 mark that we budgeted for, give or take, you know, a few bucks here and there. But the permit is closed out. We have our Z voting used, and they were able to open it up for their early voting session just a week or two ago. So I can't thank the highway department enough. Those guys have been, it's great working with Devin and Pete. It's just really, we got a great flow, great working relationship. And we're just getting work done.
That's good to know, it's great.
Yeah, Pete tells me what to do and that's what we're doing.
Wait, that's all you gotta do? I didn't know
Pete tells
that.
them what to do, and that's what we do. That's, you know, whatever Pete wants.
Well, then we talked about that years ago, a year or so ago, about what you want to do with the highway.
Underneath, yeah. Devin, how many buildings do you want?
I got enough roads.
You know, like the price of pipe, and we're gonna see that, we had a incident at the door of the fire hall. And bottom panel, maybe replace, I think they could do something with it. It was $1,100 for the bottom panel.
Yeah.
Just one panel.
So we had, they threw some numbers at us buying these lengths of 6-inch drainage pipe. 3 years ago, it was like 62 cents a foot. It was $6 a foot. Purchase it now. We did all the work in house, still spent, you know, when I originally got a quote for that grant to come up with budgetary numbers, we were at 25 to 30,000. So we thought 30,000 was going to be great. We did it in house for 30,000. That's without paying labor for anybody. I mean, the taxpayers still pay the labor for here. It'd been twice, if not more, the money. So we fixed it correctly. We got the job done, the parking lot sealed, and it's really, it's
So
huge.
you tell me these guys back door, when they're doing these, they know that pipe got some, they have any, and,
Yeah, I wish that were the case, but. So,
hey, veteran services moved.
yeah, veteran services, we moved them last week in the heat, it's very hot. We got many truckloads of their items down to the Ag Center. We're still working through some locking and door issues. We're working through that stuff, but they're in. I gotta get some signs made for them. I was waiting kind of to see what we were gonna put in that last section of space to get all the signs altered in the building. The building prepared for an opening. I touched base with Tony this morning again because he's kind of utilizing the department, every day or every other day to move furniture, tables, and things around within his new space. The only hiccup we had in the space is there's one outlet and one communication jack that needs to be moved to the other side of the wall. There was a little bit of a change there in our original plans. Nothing we can't do in the house, nothing too big. But it seems they're gonna settle in nicely, and he enjoys being in town here. And, it came out great. Can't thank my guys enough on that.
I know we have a bottom there, it's a veteran department, only there's one.
Yeah.
You know, does it need to be more now?
He had requested that, and I sent out a parking memo because we had a meeting at the Ag Center the other day about some security things as well as some items such as parking. I kind of want to meet with some neighbors to just talk to them prior to sending letters to the lawyer, seeing if we can rectify the situation in-house before going legal way. But parking wise, it sounds like Tony would like to add 3 to 5 more veterans parking signs to the lot, which will be okay, and eventually when we have more lot space over there. Right now, if we get them a couple more signs,
Maybe labeled, you know, like 8-4, so we have a meeting every night.
that's what we also have to look into, correct, right? We kicked that to Jen, and Jen said, hey, within the village limits, talk to Pete Hoffmeister, see what other municipal lots, the kind of the ruling, the judgments on those, and then we'll go from there. But we did come up with a map this week, so we have public, designated public parking parking, designated employee parking, and then fleet vehicle parking. So we do have it split up into 3 ways now. And then any overflows on the streets or in the grass, of course.
Because of the lights for the traps.
Haven't used some, haven't seen one, haven't. No, so I noticed the peanut butter that I bought out of my pocket.
Maybe it was that chip that was recalled.
Yeah. So the only mouse that's been found lately is a very fat rat at the training center, and Brian sent me a picture of that just last week. And behind it was a snake in the building. Pretty odd. But nothing, and I talked to Al, we checked those traps, they said no traps in that part, nothing yet. So we're looking to get their seats on some shelves, seats on a pallet right now, it's a buffet there. You know, the doors aren't tight, the building's not tight. And the doors get, overhead doors get left open during the day, stuff like that. It's a storage building, you're gonna have that, but we'll try to, without, hiring it out, or buying a Tomcat, we'll get that situation under control. The training center, on the other hand, that's those guys there.
I was just gonna ask about the training center building. Have we heard anything more? Where are we on that?
So I went up, we did a tour with campus, they took some pictures, they're taking the a budgetary number that we came up with at the meeting to their estimator and to see what his thoughts were, and then we can design around that number. But also Brian had mentioned that the EMS stuff that's going on, so we're keeping all of that in thought process as we move into this training center project. We know there's gonna be $597,000 available, but for what's being asked, for what may be needed, we're gonna need more funding than that.
I see there's some kind of public safety sector.
Yeah, I was gonna camp out actually, until then. So we can go over that stuff for public safety. I kind of left the ball in his court. I told him to stop talking to until we figure out number wise where we're gonna be. Don't even talk to the guy from the grant, just let's let the dust settle and let's find out what we're gonna end up being on our side, and then let's plan.
I only mentioned that because we're gonna start talking about budget projection at the finance committee. So there's a lot of things out there that we need to think about.
We started going over that, you and I, the next year's plans. The cost, everybody knows the cost of everything is getting less, but the work is progressing, and we just have to stay on top of it.
We talked about work going down there, and you mentioned Mike yesterday, public health, they talked about doing some work down there, but it had to be done by the end of the year,
Speaking of which, that was referred to Public Works, by the way. Have you talked with Laura on this, haven't you?
Talked to Laura, I gave her some numbers of around $30,000 for renovations to a kitchen and break room space with alterations to one of the restrooms down there. They have that clinic room or vaccination room they were using for. We would end up gutting a good footprint of the center of the building and rebuilding that space. She was gonna crunch the numbers, she had some other projects, blacktop work, stuff like that she wanted done as well. But I think she was sticker shock when Devin and I met her the other day. Because it's just never enough money, even the grant funding isn't gonna pay for everything that is being requested. So I've yet to speak to Laura since then, or since her meeting here this week, but we will do our best to spend her money, whatever it's allocated towards that building, and give her the space she's looking for.
Yeah, well, she was throwing out a figure, 45,000 on the building.
In the building?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then 10,000 for security.
Yeah.
So, and then, like I said, all I've discussed so far is that renovation portion.
Right.
So,
And it does have to be done by the end of the year get the grant money, so.
How much does that leave for the parking lot?
She had 75 total. So,
Maybe you get a couple feet down the parking lot.
I don't, those women, these truck loads $1,000 or over, now it's $1,300.
There's a lot of parking lot down there. We looked at some spots that need some patching done, that can be done in-house, and they're gonna be done in-house this year, no matter what. Whoever has to pay for it, myself or Dick of it. So that the lot's not gonna fail, but we're looking at the longevity as well as the lot. Are we gonna attach, seal, or slurry seal and restripe, or should we patch and then just put a topper on and recoat the whole lot, so we get 20 years out of it? It's all in what funding.
Yeah, it just depends on what you guys want to get out of it. Obviously, an overlay would be the best, thing for it for longevity, but if you're trying to get out of it cheap, then a couple partial depth repairs, crack seal it, and then, seal the entire parking lot.
Yeah, it's been a couple years.
Which would be about 5 years.
I think they said that they could scrounge up some other grant money if needed. I think they have the ability to do that.
So, right, so scrounging and.
I don't mean $25, I mean like
No, I know, what we're
20,000
we're looking at 100 to 150
Yeah, it's gonna be that much.
to pay.
to repay, to add that layer to the entire parking lot.
The index, the asphalt index, is like 8.9 now or something. That's crazy.
So the reason that's gonna go down, so like if we.
Have you seen the prices go down? Yeah, it's the same, when we doubled our budget up here for this parking lot to $60,000 this year, thinking, man, we're gonna finally do something up here. And I'm like, cool, I'm gonna fill some potholes and seal it, because we're in the same boat here with doubling our budget. So. And this is like
Soil pressure.
It's one thing to pave a road, but it's something entirely different than pave a parking lot, so.
But he had mentioned that with the shimming and the grade, setting pitch, and those guys who do parking lots are experts at their.
How long did that last? We did that.
20 years.
$125,000 option, that lasts 20 years.
That's something you bid out.
Sure. Same thing, I think maybe go out with an RFP to get different takes on what and how the layout, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it all depends on what the contractor's opinion is, I believe, but
Cross cut or something like that.
yeah, or the bigger companies, that's. That's about all I have. It's hot, the equipment's running to full capacity the past few weeks. We've had some hiccups. We did have a compressor fail as well down at social services, had to make an emergency repair on the server room down there. That unit is a monster. It's a big commercial unit, but after 11 years of running every day, even in the winter time, to keep that server room cool, the compressor faulted, and the compressor itself was like $2,100. I haven't seen the final bill. There was no choice. We bought a portable $300 or $400 unit to put in there for 2 days that will utilize, throughout the properties as needed for emergencies. But then MJ Mechanical was able to repair that and have it operational 2 weeks ago Friday. So it was down a day and a half, 2 days.
Much choice.
Hey, anything else from Mike?
Yeah, I think Cheryl might have had something that we were talking about in the security things. Or we did get policy. Well, we were gonna do it here because you wanted Mike for the conversation.
I think he's gonna be policy.
Okay, you say that.
So I have a question on that. Some guy comes, walks into the highway facility. Do I need to furnish him any documents that he asks for?
That's not a public facility. Is it?
So,
I think, there are safety requirements.
Right.
But the office,
Facility.
okay. So, I've already kind of talked about it a little bit, obviously, we'll let him shop. We'll let him, shop for liability reasons,
Right.
but I thought anyone could just come in to the office building.
If it's open to the public.
The door's open and he's opening it. That's the problem. There's,
In your separate offices, do they have locks on them? Do they have?
It's not a, this the building's kind of open. You can go upstairs and get the cage.
Doors?
My office has a door, Pete's office has, so,
They walk into Katie.
yeah, they can walk in right in, Katie walk in the shower.
I think, if you have access to your shop, you might want to put something on the door that says restricted or something. Employees only.
so I've got tags coming in. I ordered 60 door tags to utilize throughout the property. For
Yeah,
authorized personnel.
Personnel.
right.
Oh, not personal?
It's nothing personal.
It's
more
personal, personnel.
Yes. Yes, a little insight.
Okay. It makes sense, and I don't want to keep. Let that away from the shower if possible.
Yeah, I think they call you that or when doors do get left open and it's an open, you know what I mean? This time of year, the red doors are going to be open.
Yeah, Katie, it's, it's open.
For business, during business hours.
Yeah, and Dave Linder actually contacted me for the secure lot that is already secure. And we're gonna have, Movie Highway is gonna make some signs up that say, authorized vehicles only, so maybe we can do something like that on highway, because then it is labeled GPS oriented, I think is how we come across it, it's trespassing if it's written like that, then it can sort it out properly. But still new to all of us, and trying to take the reins of keeping everybody safe is very difficult, or at least peace of mind.
Hey Devin, we did some debate yesterday. I know the superintendent mentioned that how irate people are getting when they come up to a crowd, are your players saying anything about more people being more irate with them and they stop them because of hate?
I haven't heard much. Yeah, although maybe Pete has heard, but I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I guess it was yesterday when we worked on Griffith Road, Rich said it was awful. People would just be so irate, they couldn't go through, and they'd have to go around. He goes, it gets scary when you have to go start walking up to a vehicle and.
People fly through there as well.
Yeah.
Traffic safety board, we talked about putting those digital speed limit readout things there. To kind of see what time people are going through and what rate of speed. I don't know if they talked to Greg about that yet.
People use that against the park.
yeah,
I tell you, I was with one of the guys yesterday, we pulled the weeds that were in the monument out here. The holiday coming up here, and it was unsettling watching how many drivers are looking at their phones walking around that monument.
Yep.
And we had our vehicles parked there, we had cones out, and you better watch your back, it's scary, it is.
It's very scary, that's why it's our house, not to me.
So, but I did find out that Aqua Extension has a very, I don't want to say very large, but an amount of money for items such as that for gardening. So maybe we can work with them. They did some planting at the Ag Center, the kids did, so that worked out well. Maybe we can work something out so we can get the monument taken care of.
Nice.
Well, so, yeah.
It's garden club.
It'd be nice if they could put their sign out there too, then it'll take some credit for.
I didn't see how Sandy was something about our jail.
There is, or there is.
I didn't see it, is there anything about the
the jail on public safety,
About what?
about
A jail project,
a jail project.
no, and I don't know that. I spoke with.
I'm just thinking as we, like, have a finance committee next week, it's not like we need to have a good idea going on.
Like a renovation project or something?
Possible renovation, and Greg may just want to speak about it. But I know, my court was went off as well, and he knows more about what is being asked for his out right now. But either way, we're gonna look into what we can as well prior to, sooner than later, I guess.
Nothing else, Mike?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.